Test that stream is up. Sound reading. Perfect. Okay, so welcome along to the class today. Our final class before Christmas. So you're very welcome along. Siel, Bleu, Ireland, in collaboration with the Irish Cancer Society, bringing you this Staying Well While Staying Home series. Myself, Shane, I've been guiding you through the last couple of months, and I'll be guiding us through the session today. So usual just things that we like to check in before we begin any session. I have a little bit of space to work with. I have a good strong chair. I always say I lead the vast majority of the movements in standing. Everything can be adapted and performed seated as to your preference if you need. Remember, everyone is building up, so whether you do 1, 2, 3 rounds of the work that I do, particularly with that strength work, no pressure. I want you to just work and build up at your own pace. Drink of water, window open, maybe if you have your heat on full blast because it's a bit colder outside. Just be aware, little things like that, it might get very warm during the session. Otherwise, I'm just going to bring you into this workout, and what I'd finally say to people, any movement that causes pain, irritation, it just doesn't feel right, do adjust the movement. I like my sessions not just to be standing or seated. I'll always say adjust within that. So if you can do the exercise standing, but maybe you just need to take weight out of the movement or just adjust the range, little things like that. Otherwise, I think what we'll do is, as we just tip past 10, we'll begin with our warm-up. So I'm going to start off with my shoulders, just lifting up and then back in circles. So nice big circles. Just typically the area I will start. For me, that's just where I'll generally feel tight and a little bit stiff. I think just a good place to switch on. And the shoulders are always kind of a part of our session. And we just want to loosen everything out. Changing direction, rolling shoulders forward in circles now. Again, just as much movement as you comfortably can here. Okay, just to bring those hands up, I want to rotate or just a little swivel and press, and then over to the right and press. So just that small rotation between left and right, just having that nice press into the movement as well. So I'm getting that nice connection with my chest and getting a little bit of rotation here as well. Okay, from this position, let's keep those hands up. Just take a step to the side and press, and then the opposite side. So just continuing with that pressing motion, just adding a side step in as well. Just pushing straight out from that chest. And down, just bringing the arms by your side. I want to minimize the movement from the hips, and I just want to rotate the body left and rotate the body over to the right. I think one arm is now in front, one arm is behind. I just want you to continue switching between the two positions. One arm in front, one arm behind. But like everything else, just moving to as much range as you can. Maybe this one will start to open up a little bit as you go. I'll go once more in each direction. And down. Okay, into a rowing action. I always like to switch on to the back of my body. Just take a light step forward and just pull back. So those hands pull back, low in towards my stomach. The elbows back. Taking a nice squeeze, connection with the back of your body. Just that reach and pull back. So that rowing motion, pulling back. And I'll go one more time. And down. Just giving a little bit of extra focus to shoulders, chest. Just want to start lightly bringing those elbows up and down, just to about shoulder height. Any way I'm comfortable, just alternate through one arm at a time. Now I want to keep those elbows up at shoulder height. and just opening out to the side. So elbows from front to side. And if any way uncomfortable, just work through one side at a time. And back down. Okay, just return. Just bring it into a march. Let's get the lower limbs moving now. Okay, so first action I'm going to go for here, just lightly curling the heels back one at a time. Might feel the back of the legs just switching on now. Just lightly curling those legs back. Any of these movements, grab hold that chair to behind if you want. From here, just lightly extend the leg out, tapping your heel into the floor with toes pointed up. I just feel a light little stretch through the back of my lower leg, so on the calf here. Again, just a little bit tight sometimes. Just a nice light action, tapping heel down. Okay, and then again, just lightly curling those heels back. And just think heel towards bum, lightly curling the heel back one at a time. And return. Again, I'm just going to start lightly tapping the heels out in front. Toes pointed up towards ceiling. And then next what I want to do is just start lightly kicking the leg out one at a time. Again, grab that chair if you need. Don't want to think too much, just nice light as if kicking out in front. Nice little light leg extension here. And from that position, bring a little bit of height into the knee lift. So less on speed, more about the lift and the height here. Good big lift. And once more, we'll swap between the two positions, just lightly kicking the legs out in front. And then once more, going to bring those nice big knee lifts, that nice big elevation in. And once more through each side and back down, okay? So that's our warm-up. I'm going to bring you into our aerobic block of work here. This is like an extension of our warm-up. So we just keep the body moving, active at this point. Think about this as building up endurance in the lungs, working the heart, giving our body that little bit of extra challenge here. So 3 movements, format I will always do. And really the movements can be adapted and performed seated. Really the same kind of movement patterns. Just do the same thing in seated as in standing. Just note with the standing variations, sometimes a little bit of balance, coordination at play. So just to be mindful of that, start at a pace that's comfortable and just build it up as you go. So let's put the clock on and let's get started. So whether standing or seated, your setup for this first one will be exactly the same. I want you to bring your arms out to your side. And what I want to do is bring my right elbow to my left knee towards, not to physically touch. So how that looks. I'll time us in 3, 2, 1. The action is right elbow across, left knee up. Now, very important, my upper body stays straight. I'll start kind of cautiously with the movements, just this first round, just to explore. And you'll see that I'm not going to physically touch the elbow off the knee. I'm just bringing the elbow across as far as comfortable whilst lifting the knee. Very important that you're strong and balanced throughout the action. If you're in a seated position, again, I want you to think about keeping that upper body straight. Just that you're not bending and forcing the position. We don't need to worry about physical touch of elbow to knee. Just want a nice strong movement. Elbow across, knee lift, upper body straight. Last couple of times. And reset. The arms down for a second. Same action. Arms out, left elbow, right knee. Let's begin. And again, just start cautiously this first round. See how the movements feel. How does the 50 seconds or so that we work for feel for the action? If after this first round of movement you feel it's been really tough, feel very breathless, we want to slow it right down. If it all feels comfortable, it'll be okay. We'll continue on at a nice kind of pace that challenges us. That pace can be somewhat brisk, but always mindful of balance, particularly in the standing position. Seated, you're going for that same action. Knee up, elbow across. Last couple of times, and down. Okay, very quickly the seated adaptation. There's a very slight difference. If seated, step out, just alternate between right and left. Big lift, big step. Standing, what you do is lift your right knee up, open to the side, follow across. Imagine stepping over, little wall here, so I have to lift and step over every time. Just going to really work through the hips again. Lift the knee, step across. So we have our 3 movements. We'll repeat twice more with each action. And based on this first round, if you need to slow the pace down, maybe continue exactly as you are. Or if you want to apply a little bit more power, if it all felt quite easy. So just making that little first kind of judgment. Just always ensure as well that you are balanced and happy in terms of movements you're going to perform. One more time. And down, okay? 3 actions, same again. Back to the start. Arms out, right elbow, left knee. And now I'm more familiar. I know what the movement patterns are. I know I'm comfortable, I'm strong, and I'm balanced through the positions. So we'll continue on. I'm not going to rush through that I'll feel unbalanced. But I'm now working at a nice brisk pace where there's a good challenge. Right elbow across, left knee up. All the time, strong and balanced through the position. Coordination, also at play. Strong core, hip, shoulder, all these areas active. Last couple of times. Any point you need, just reset, slow the pace down. And reset. Okay, let the arms down for a second and we'll reset. Arms out again. Now my left elbow, right knee. Again, just keeping the body straight. Just ensure that you don't bend. Think of bringing the elbow across, lifting the knee. There'll always be that gap. I'm not going to get a physical touch. Just thinking of elbow across, knee up. Strong and balanced through the position. Definitely a little bit tougher this second round, which is kind of what I expect. It's the easier way in. Starts to get a little bit tougher as you go along. And that is what makes this aerobic work. Building up endurance. Think a brisk pace of walk, being on a bike, being on a treadmill, going at a fast pace. Just giving your body a challenge that you're in control of, where you feel there is challenge. Final action again, those side steps in the chair. And for standing, lift, step across. Lift and step across. Lift the knee, open to the side, following with the opposite leg. And I just like to rest the hands on the hips. You could have your chair directly in front just to guide you with this one if you need. So I just don't want to obstruct movement that you can't see the action. Here as I talk, a little bit of a pant, but in no way am I completely breathless, unable to talk in a full sentence. So challenge, yes, but in control. One more time. And down, reset. Third, final round, same 3 actions. Reset, arms out, remembering right elbow, left knee. And we'll go straight in. So we just move seamlessly from one action to the next. So we're always moving about 10 minutes of just active movement. Elbow, cross, knee, lifting. Again, we're always just thinking right elbow, left knee. Upper body straight, not bending. And at a pace that is right for you. Slowing it down if you need. Continuing at the same pace if comfortable. Always strong and balanced through the position. One more time. And down. Reset. Opposite side. Arms out. Left elbow, right knee. Straight in. And my left elbow across. Right knee lifting up. Maybe those arms go a little bit tired. That's okay. Pause if it just glitched a little bit there. Any issues? If the stream were to stop, I will set up a new stream. Occasionally that will happen, but touch wood will have no problems. Left elbow, right knee. Okay, just pushing through. Final time. Last couple of final round, rather. But remembering, you can always slow that pace. There's no pressure at all with any of the work. One last time. And down. Final action. Hands on hips. Big lift. And big step across. If you're in the chair, just open right leg. Then open left leg. Continue to alternate. And I'll just imagine a small wall. That's the lift and step over. So good kind of purposeful lift and step to the side. Well, I would say it doesn't matter if it's the first or the last. Don't ever feel that you need to push something through just because we're on the final stage here. If you need a little breather to take a little rest, you just got to listen to your body on that one and take a rest. Okay, just going to finish out. One more step in each direction. Back to left. And rest, okay? Purely to rest. Relax, catch your breath. Be a simple little strategy. Rest the weight of your body on the back of this chair. Sit down fully. Take your sip of water, okay? So I just want you to purely take a couple of seconds. And that's what I want, building up that endurance in the lungs. So I might feel a little bit of a pant. Just going to take a couple of seconds just to get that back in control. So what I will do next, I will set us up into our strength block of work. This is where we've been picking 5 exercises. We perform 3 rounds. I lead, just looking there, every movement today I will lead in a standing position, but there will be a seated adaptation. And now it's just about working on muscle, building strength, maintaining strength in our body. We do that with body weight sometimes, and we'll also sometimes add our weight. So if you have dumbbells, tins, bottles, this is where we use them. Right, so there we are, set up. So I'll introduce us to the first exercise today, and then we'll get started. So the exercise we're going to begin with today, I'll always recommend just having the chair behind for your squat, even if you don't need to sit down to the chair, just if you were to lose balance and just even mechanically, because we're not all together in a class setting like a view. So just to make sure mechanically we are in the right plane of movement, I'll always just use the chair. So the action will be a squat. I'll go more into the breakdown, but just to give you a quick view, this is a coordination squat. One arm will raise to the side, one arm will raise in front, and I'll track the arm that goes to the side. I'll show that in a bit more detail, but just to give you the seated variation, extend the leg and same action with the arm. So if you're working seated, I want you to extend your leg, open one arm in front and one arm to the side. Whichever arm goes to the side, track that movement with your head. Okay. So I'm going to we're going to start in about 30 seconds. And I'm going to just go through now. We're just using body weight for the squat today. As I say, you can sit down to that chair if you need. I'm not going to sit, I'm going to squat. But that chair is there in case I lost balance and just needed to reset position. Feet, shoulder width apart, knees are soft. Let's put that clock over here that I can see it. What I want you to do is begin. One arm in front, one arm to the side. With my right arm to the side, I'm going to look to the right and squat down. Stand up and reset. Squat down. Now looking to the left as my arm goes to the left. So every time, squat up and down. Opening one arm to the front, one arm to the side. Tracking whichever arm goes to the side with your head. So I'm looking across to the left, and then I'm looking across to the right. My knees will stay in line with my toes. My hips are moving down and back. My back is staying nice and straight throughout the movement. So again, if you feel you need to sit fully to that chair, just to maintain those key points of knees in line with toes, straight back, just use your chair for that support. If you're working in the seated position, that same action with the arms. And I'll always say with the squat, never to rush. Just work at your own pace here. Tiring movements, body weight. I will work those legs hard. One more time. And down. Okay, second movement. Standing, seated, very similar action. So what I want you to do is there's a couple of ways you can do this one. I want you to load the weight as if holding a tray, so the way a waiter would. That means your elbow in line with your shoulder, grasp the weight in this position. If that's uncomfortable, rest the weight down by your side, just an inch out from the hip. But I'm going to go with the waiter hold, so my elbow in line with my shoulder. I just want to lift the right knee. So think activity through the right side in terms of bearing the weight, lifting the knee. If you're in the seated position, I want you to mimic that same action. Lift the knee, hold the weight up, or hold the weight down by your side, whichever position is more comfortable. So this will definitely challenge us. Grip strength, shoulder, arm will get a little bit tired around the forearm. There's a couple of different elements here. And I'm working that hip as I lift the knee. Not to mention that standing left leg, helping us to stay strong and balanced through the position. So if you find this very difficult, bring that weight down by your side. You can always make little adaptations. It doesn't always have to be standing or seated. You can make those little changes in just terms of how we hold the weight. Keeping the body straight, we're not bending, working through the hip. One more time, and down, rest down, okay? Just going to work that from the opposite side. Maybe one side is stronger than the other, so that will, again, just be a natural kind of response that you will sometimes have. So, from the left side, same setup. If comfortable, you can bring that elbow to shoulder height. Hold the weight. If that's uncomfortable, weight down by your side. But I like not to rest against the hip. I like to hold it just out. Whichever grip is comfortable or best for you. And lifting the left knee. Seated, I want you to go for that same pattern of movement. Grasp the weight up or by your sides. Lifting the left knee. You notice my body stays straight. I barely just tap the chair. I just like that physical something to touch or to aim for. So I'm going in the same height every time. But I'm not putting any weight onto the chair. Just a nice controlled lift. And then return to the floor. Again, we've worked the shoulder many different ways in these sessions. We've done raises, presses, and just another way, just a physical hold, a little bit of stability in the position. So maybe sometimes pressing, raising can be a little bit uncomfortable. It's just another variation, another option for you in your exercise library. Let's go one more time. and down. Okay. Next movement, you can grab your second weight. Again, this is a movement that really flows very seamlessly, whether it's standing or seated. You're just following the exact same setup here in terms of execution. So, a little combination. What I want you to do is grasp your two weights as if holding a suitcase. So the palms are in by your side. What I want to do is bring the weight up from that hammer curl position and then press out from chest. Return, lower back down. So I curl the weight up from the elbow, press the weight forward and back down. Showed you from the side there, very important. My back stays strong and straight. And I don't rush the movement. Try not to punch the weight out and avoid a real jerky movement. Just keep it nice and smooth as you push out. 2 points. You're going to work the arm as you curl the weight up. We're going to connect with the chest as we then press the weight out. Find just the prolonged, particularly in a standing or seated position, just prolonged pushing out from the chest can be very difficult to maintain. So I'll sometimes combine it like this, where you just briefly take that tension off and reset the position before pressing again. We're working the arms as we bring the weight up, and then we press out from chest, nice and smooth. Let's go one more time. And down. Okay, final action. Hip hinge. Very important, the adaptations here. Some people will find this one maybe a little bit more difficult. Seated position, I want you to sit forward. Bring hands to your chest. Nice straight body. Really important that I don't bend or round my back. And keep the position straight. Lean forward. To get back to the start point, I want to squeeze my glutes here and straighten back up. So I'll lean forward, squeeze. So very important, I don't just kind of relax and not think about what I'm doing. I want to physically squeeze, and I'll feel that little connection through the back of the legs, glutes, to bring myself back straight. Standing setup, a little bit different. What I recommend is put a chair behind you. And I think that gives a good visual instruction as well. Anyone watching, hold the weights by your sides, feet about hip width, knees are soft. So I'm not really perfect straight. I'm nice, relaxed in the position. I want to push my hips backwards. I push back, 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 back. I'll feel the back of that chair, squeeze, come forward. Now I can go a little bit further forward than that. Again, just want to push the hips back, squeeze, come forward. Really important. Initiate through your hips every time, keeping your back straight. The chair is there just to give me that little bit of feedback that I am pushing backwards. What would happen is sometimes we'll squat through this movement, but I want you to think always just pushing the hips back as opposed to squatting. Just simply push the hips back, squeeze, come forward. I'm never bending that back. I'm always initiating through my hips by pushing backwards, squeezing and coming forward. And again, I'm not going to force the range. Sometimes we'll end up forcing the range, trying to be parallel to the floor. But if we can just access movement through the hips, keep the back straight, we're in the right zone here. And what you might feel is a good stretch through the back of your upper legs in our hamstrings here. If we feel a stretch there, we're right on track with the movement. And rest. Okay, drop the weights down. One round of movement completed. First round of your circuit. So take a little breather. Ask yourself, was that easy? Was it hard? Very important. If everything felt okay there, kind of good challenge, just continue on as was. If anything was a little bit difficult, a certain movement caused pain, just make note of that you're going to change it a little bit this second time, maybe seated instead of standing, taking the weight out, just making a little change as required. But overall, we expect generally second, third round that will get a little bit tougher. So let's go back to the start. First movement. Remember, the seated variation was leg extension with our one arm in front, one arm to the sides, tracking the movement. And then standing, we go for the full squat. Feet shoulder width, knees soft. And I'll begin the action squatting down, one arm in front, one arm to the side, tracking the arm movement to the side with my head. And I'm in no hurry. As with the squat, we'll just rush this one up, down really fast. We'll just keep it nice and controlled. My hips moving down and back. Hips coming forward as I stand up. Back stays straight. Knees in line with my toes. Generating power from the heels up through the legs. Whichever arm goes to the side, I track with my head. So you're just using body weight. But one little challenge in it today with the coordination of one arm front, one arm to side, adding movement through the head as well. I inhale as I lower. I exhale as I stand. Let's go once or twice more. One more if comfortable. And up. Okay. Moving back to the knee lift. Working your hip. And also just working that shoulder in terms of maintaining the position. So we can go ahead and grab a weight. Remember the setup, whether standing or seated. If you can bring that elbow in line with shoulder, grasp the weight, or hold it down by your side, whichever is best for you if this first position is uncomfortable. Okay, so let's begin. Lift the right knee up, back down. I lightly tap the chair. Seated position, exactly the same action. Lift the knee, maintain this position, or by your sides. You can put that spare arm out, just a little counterbalance, just to make sure you feel strong in the position. Our left leg is active, helping us to stay strong and balanced. Lifting the right knee, maintaining position with the waist. Anything like your grip, forearm, shoulder, all very active, grasping that waist, maintaining the position. That hip active as I lift the knee, and that left leg really working hard as well. All right, last couple of times through the right. And once more. And down. Rest the weight down. Going to work through the left side next. Again, very simple. Maybe to start the position, it feels fine. Very quickly, might lose a bit of power in this position. Don't be afraid to just adjust, bring it down by your side if needs. Okay, so about 10 seconds. So we'll just start setting up. Taking the weight in your left hand now. Bring that elbow up in line with shoulder as you grasp the weight, or by your side, whichever is right for you. Lift the left knee up. Lightly tapping the chair with my foot. Upper body stays strong. Not putting any weight onto that chair. Just very lightly tap. Important, you're strong, you're balanced throughout the movement. And if you're not liking the position, drop the weight down to your side instead. And definitely feel this second round, much like the aerobic work, this second round tougher than the first round. So you'll notice those little changes. Maybe what seemed a little bit easier the first round becoming a little bit harder. We can always adjust, make little changes. Last couple of times, lifting that left knee. One more if comfortable. And back down. Rest there, or we'll take our weight Combination next. A couple of seconds. Take your drink of water. A little bit early and taking hold of my two weights. Just a little bit of recovery. Shake the legs out. Again, standing seated, you're going to perform this exactly the same way. Okay, so 10 seconds, so let's begin setting up. Grasp the weights, palms faced into your side, just keeping the elbow in a fixed position. Just in by your side or slightly in front. Curl the weights up, press out from chest and back down. So a hammer curl, we curl the weight up with a nice smooth press out from chest. It's that nice combination. Just keeping the elbow in a fixed position as you initially curl the weights up, and then just allow the arm to extend forward as you press. Just wanted to show a couple from the side. As I say, keeping the upper body straight, just that we don't arch as we push the weight. And we keep it as a nice smooth action, so we don't rush and press that really fast. Just keep it as a nice smooth action out from chest every time. And let's continue. Last couple of reps here. One more time. And back down. Okay. Again, give me the versions here. Seated. Again, just remember, bring those hands onto your chest. Sit forward, nice and tall. Lean, squeeze, back to nice and tall. Lean forward, squeeze, back to the center position. Standing. Chair is behind. Again, that'll give me a physical cue and also a visual cue in terms of my demonstration. Grasp the weight by my sides, feet hip width, knees nice and soft, just judging where I am. And I'll begin pushing my hips backwards. So I think there's a drawer open behind you, and I tell you to push your hips back to close it. So I push back, squeeze, coming forward. So hips pushing back, squeeze, come forward. By feeling that chair, I know I am pushing my hips back as opposed to sitting and squatting down. Hips push back. Upper body stays straight, but it's naturally drawn forward as you push your hips back. Weights just gently lower down by your side. But again, everything is initiated from the hips. And we squeeze those glutes just to come forward into position again. Always pushing hips back. Keeping a nice straight back. Stretching our hamstrings back of the upper legs. One more time. And in. Letting the weights back down. Taking a rest. Take a drink of water. 2 rounds finished. If comfortable, you're going to go for 1/3 final round. No pressure. If you find it work very tough, you might break it down over the day. Maybe 2 rounds feels like it's really pushed you to the maximum kind of effort, and it's perfectly fine if that's the case, just to say, 2 is enough for today. But just going to allow for that 3rd round if you were feeling okay with that. Again, make little adjustments. That 2nd round for me, definitely tougher than the 1st. So again, that 3rd round could be tougher as well. So again, any points you need, take a little breather, take a little rest. Otherwise, let's continue. 1/3 final round. Okay, so giving you the adaptation first for our squat. Remember that you can go with the leg extension and alternate front and side raise with the arm, tracking movement with the head. Standing version. Chair back. Feet shoulder width. Knees are nice and soft. And we'll squat down, one arm to the side, one arm in front. Just going to let the clock kind of sink in. We'll begin in 3, 2, 1, and I'll start. One arm in front, one to the side as I squat. Whichever arm goes to the side, I track that movement with my head. My back stays straight. My knees in line with my toes. Hips moving down and back as I squat down. Hips coming forward as I stand up tall. Any point you need, sit right back into that chair just to adjust the position. Feeling tension through the thighs, really active. And a little coordination through the arms, tracking the movement with your head. And on a no rush. You know, sometimes we'll naturally speed up and think, right, third round, let's get this done really quick. Remember, on the same block of time every time. Just work at a nice controlled pace. Exhale as I stand up. Inhale as I lower. Last time. And down. Okay, moving. This is a tough one, so I'll be glad to do the last rounds of this one. Remember, you can do this seated exactly the same way. Standing, I'm going to have the elbow in line with my shoulder, grasp the waist, or in by your side, but just try not to rest against the hip. Try and hold it physically out, even just an inch from your side. Right, so let's begin. Elbow, line with shoulder, or down by your side. 3, 2, 1. Lift that right knee. Really good example of a movement. Maybe the first round, maybe even that second round, you know, this was okay. But you might just say, do you know what, that shoulder grip, the forearm, just becoming tired, losing a bit of strength, I might just adjust. So you can make that change if you need. You might just finish out that movement stronger. So don't be afraid to make these little adjustments as you go. Lifting the right knee, bearing the weight through that right side. Keeping the upper body shape nice and strong, just so you're not bending. Lifting up that right knee, connecting with the hip, bearing weight through that right shoulder, feeling that forearm, just even the grip, that grasping of the waist. Last time, and down, rest the waist. Just shake it out. And just like to keep it lightly moving in between each movement. Of course, taking your drink of water as you need. But, you know, I do a very poor dance here, but just anything. Shake the legs out, wiggle the toes, any kind of light movement, just keeping your body in the zone. That's all we're doing here. So let's go again. Waist, left hand, elbow in line with your shoulder, or down by your side, whatever feels most comfortable. And let's begin. Lifting that left knee up, working through your hip. Continuing to hold that weight, that shoulder switched on. Keeping the upper body nice and strong. You're not bending forward here. Again, very light as I tap that chair. I'm not putting any kind of weight onto it. And again, if you need to adjust, don't be afraid, just let that weight down by your side to finish out. That's okay if you need to. Just going to finish out last couple of times, lifting that left knee. Once more. And down. Okay. Again, I'm not going to rush it this time. Take a couple of seconds for a combination. And so hammer curl, with press. What I find is a lot of the time that prolonged press can be very tough. Now, there is adaptations I'll do to counter that, but sometimes I think it's nice to just break it up and then press, return, reset. So it just gives the body, it doesn't put too much pressure through that chest. Grasp the weight, as if holding a suitcase. Keep the elbows in a fixed position as you curl the weight up. Press nice and smooth out. Back down. Weights curl up. Nice smooth press out from chest. Again, very important. Sometimes when we're pressing, I think we can just be naturally, we tend to just punch the weight out and we maybe lose the angle mechanics. I think it should be a nice straight line every time. Just connecting with my chest. Curl the weights up. Press out from chest. Working arms, working through the chest. Yeah, I think so. We'll just finish out the last couple of reps here. One more time if comfortable. And back down. Okay. Final exercise today. In our circuit. Again, I just want to give you the adaptation. Some people may find that standing one difficult. Sit forward in your chair. Nice and tall. Hands on chest. Reset that clock. Lean forward, squeeze, back in. Lean forward, squeeze, back in. So it's that squeeze that brings me back into position. Standing. Chair behind. Grab your two weights. Feet about hip width apart. Knees are soft. Weights by my side. The action, push your hips back. There's a drawer that's open behind you. You have to close it by pushing your hips back. Push back, squeeze, come forward. So again, think about hips starting the movement every time, as opposed to leaning forward. I want you to think of your hips every time. Start this action, hips, push back. Again, that chair, whether you're watching the movement, you can see how I'm just pushing back. And then for me personally, it just gives me that physical feedback that I am pushing back. If I was squatting, probably not going to feel that chair. So that's why I have it there, just to guide me. Lets me know I am doing what I want. Pushing the hips back, stretching out the back of those upper legs. Feeling a nice stretch through my hamstrings. Squeeze to come forward. Hips push back, squeeze and forward. One more time. And in. Okay. All right, take a little rest. First, most important thing, 3 rounds of work finished. Take a sip of water. First, most important thing, 3 rounds of work finished. Take a sip of water. Okay, just catch your breaths. Take a couple of seconds. Maybe just take some of that pressure off the body. Simple little thing where they're sitting down, or just putting some of your weight through the back of the chair. Taking some of that pressure off the body. A couple of breaths. Inhale, slowly exhale. Okay, so just looking back at what we covered there. So we worked, just our little recap of what we did. We were working our quadricep strength, or just the thighs, strengthening the legs. That's something we've probably done every single session. We worked our hip. We worked our shoulder, just grip, forearm, that's grip strength with our lift and maintenance of the weight. We worked the arms when we lifted the weight, and we also connected with our chest and worked the chest when we added that pressing motion. We stretched our hamstrings and we worked our glutes when we tried that hip movement. So a lot of things covered there today. So all I want to do is just bring us into a couple of movements just to relax, just to stretch down after all that harder work. So you can take a seated position here. And we'll just go through a couple of stretches. Important when you have pushed hard that we do just take a couple of minutes to switch off, relax the body down. So first stretch I want to do, because we did work the hamstrings quite hard today. Sit forward in the chair. Straighten your right leg out. You're on the heel of your foot. Hands on my left leg. Gently lean forward, a nice straight body, until you feel a stretch back of that leg. Now, kind of the sweet spot with a stretch, you want to feel maybe a slight discomfort, like you notice you feel a little stretch there, but not to a point where it's searing or painful. So that's why I'm going to stop here. I don't need to push that body any further forward. Back in. Left leg out. Stretch the leg on the heel of your foot. Hands on the right leg. Gently lean forward. Feeling a nice stretch through the back of the leg. It's probably starting small, not very long with the holds, but I'll build up the length of the stretch as I go. Reset. Right leg out on the heel. Hands on the left leg. Gently lean forward. A nice stretch, and I'll maybe just hold for a little bit longer this second time. And return. Reset, left leg out on the heel of your foot, hands on right leg, gently lean forward. And a nice stretch through the back of my leg, a hamstring, and maybe just lengthening the hold this second time. Back in, reset, right leg out on the heel of my foot, hands on left leg, gently lean forward. And let's hold that nice stretch through the back of the leg. And this third final round, probably a little bit longer on the stretch. Yeah, those hamstrings are a little bit tight for me today. I've been working them hard recently, so I definitely need this stretch myself. And back in. Stretch that left leg out on the heel. Hands on the right leg. Again, just gently lean forward. A nice stretch through the back of your leg. Hold the position. Hold that nice stretch. And back. Okay. From this position, just sit right back into your chair. Lift the right knee. Just lightly hold on. And just raise that knee up as high as comfortable towards your chest. So you might feel that glute, might feel your hip, and might just feel quite nice on the lower back here as well. Just a nice position. Whilst you're in this position, point the toes up to the ceiling. Just hold. And then point toes down towards the floor. And then once more between the two positions, point those toes up towards the ceiling. Point toes down towards the floor. And rest. Swap sides. Elevate the left knee. Slightly hold on. Gently raise that knee up towards the chest. I want you to point those toes up towards the ceiling. And adding a stretch within a stretch. Point the toes down to the floor. Same again. Let's just lift those or point those toes up towards the ceiling. Point toes down towards floor. Back down. Just move up the body a little bit here. What I want to do, just arms by my side. Pull back. Open up that chest. Bring the arms back. The palms are faced forward, but those arms have pulled back. Just to open out the chest. And reset. Again, just lightly pull back. Open up that chest. Hold the position. And then one more time. And okay, just like to give you something different at every session, just a slightly different stretch. What I might do is just raise that left arm, just lightly grab a hold of that left arm with your right hand, overhead position. So when you gently tilt to the right, couple of seconds, back up, just gently tilt to the right again, back up, and then once more. Notice it's just lengthening and then shortening. Reset. Now my right arm up, grab a hold of that right arm just around the wrist with your left hand, and I'll just stretch across to the left. Back up to center. Just gently tilt again. Back up. One more time. And back up. Just a different stretch there today, just to try that out. Just start rolling the shoulders back. Just nice and relaxed. Okay. Very welcome, Mary. Thanks very much for the comment there. Yeah, and just to, as you continue just to roll those shoulders back, just want to wish everyone a very happy Christmas as well. So the last in our series, before we finish up for Christmas. So it's just been a brilliant experience to deliver the classes. Any kind of issues, you know, even over Christmas, just with anything around fitness, don't be afraid to get in touch. You can get connected, you know, with our Facebook page or email at Siel Bleu. Don't be afraid to get in touch just with any questions, queries, anything at all that maybe just can help in terms of just keeping you on track. Any kind of health, fitness questions to do with exercise, don't be afraid to get in touch. Just change direction. Roll the shoulders forward in circles. Okay, we'll just take one final stretch. Fold those arms, rotate to the right. Rotate to the left. I just bring my head with the movement. Over to the right. Over to the left. Once more, over to the right. Let's hold a little bit longer this third time. And then over to the left. Rest down, okay? So that's us finished for today. Just hope you have a brilliant Christmas. This collaboration over the last couple of months has been brought to you between Siel Bleu Ireland and the Irish Cancer Society. So we're just working together on this project to bring you this Staying Well While Staying Home series. So just have a great Christmas. Any questions, as I say, don't be afraid to get in touch. We'll be back in the new year as well. So and keep an eye on social media just in terms of classes and what's available, what's coming up. But have a great Christmas, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, everyone. And have a great Christmas, Mary. Thanks very much.